Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alternative Interactions. I'm Gary. Um, Thank you for joining me, and please like, share, and subscribe. Right, today's show is going to be something that's probably going to trigger a lot of people, particularly the title, and for good reason. I'm kind of taking the teeth out um, today, and and you're going to be getting the business today. This was kind of inspired by something I saw on a Telegram channel, and a lady had posted up a guided meditation following the Merkaba. Now, as any of you guys who follow me know, I have explained previously that the Merkaba is a satanic death cult symbolization, and it's a third party interloper that takes our power away and uses it for nefarious reasons. But I'm going to go into it this time, and I'm actually going to drop some real heavy bombs. So I'm going to link some of these characters together for you today and link them into the Merkaba. So you're going to get to see that Satan is fully involved, as is Baal, Moloch, Pan, and many other entities are fully involved in this third party Fibonacci sequence death cult. So yeah, I really am going to I'm really going to upset a few with this one because you know, I've been saying it or trying to do it in a nice way, but I'm really going to drop some bombs here, and Yahweh is on the table as well. Okay, so but fundamentally, all we're talking about is Janus, the controller of this realm, in his different guises. And I have images and slides that show you, and I'll take you through the process of this. So you've been warned, you're going to get triggered, many of you, but it is what it is, it's the truth. And we need to try and get the message out if we can to stop these people giving their energy to Satan. I just don't understand. I mean, obviously, this was done in love and in the right intention. And I know that, but we need to get this message out. People need to start seeing this. They need to start acting and reacting to the fact that they're feeding the very system that they're fighting against. You know, I know I'm a small channel relatively, but the message is a big one, and we need to get that out. So thank you very much, everybody, as well, for all your support. And we are ad free for a fair while now. So your generosity has really helped the channel, and thank you very much for that. So without further ado, I shall get on with the slideshow. Come on, share screen. I am terrible with this, and hopefully there we go. So hopefully you can see it, and I don't know whether I can. Oh, look at that. I can go down to the bottom corner. Look, who knew? Who knew? So I might move myself around a bit. I tell you, technophobe, proper technophobe. So what we're talking about today is the Merkaba. The Merkaba, which is the satanic symbol of worship. So again, I'm starting where I mean to go on, and I really am going to be dropping some bombs. Now, the Merkaba is a triangle within a triangle, which is laid over Metatron's cube, and Metatron's cube is the black cult cube of Satan, and also connected and part of the Fibonacci sequence. So, and as you guys have been following me, you'll know that the sacred geometry and the Fibonacci are all part of this psyop. And I did do a video. Now I will be putting links to the videos that are relevant in my description today. So please make sure you go back and watch those videos. It will give you some understanding of where we are today. So yeah, so Metatron's cube, and in there we can see the triangle and the triangle that sits inside it. Metatron's cube is sacred geometry, which is actually really not sacred at all in any way, shape, or form, and it is part of the death cult symbolism. In actual fact, its real purpose is to keep us locked into the 3D realm. So I'll say that again. The purpose of the Metatronic cube Fibonacci sequence is to trap our souls into the 3D realm and feed off our loosh. We have fundamentally this the triangle in the occult, and it's the seal of Solomon. It's not, it's the seal of the soul of man. It's the seal of the soul of man's light and woman, obviously, and they're solar. And it's to take over the masculine with dark lunar and feminine energies. So they're going to take, so the masculine has taken over the feminine, divine feminine in this system. So when Gaia was defeated by Janus, by the Metatronic cube system, this is what we get. This is what we get. Okay. So this is the Merkaba and the Metatronic cube system. Obviously, that's the Merkaba, but this is the black cube of Satan and all its other guises that make up the Fibonacci sequence and the flower of life or daisy of life, which is actually the daisy of death. And like I say, I have gone through that before, and I will be dropping plenty of links in the bottom of this one because I think you need to see that and understand those videos as well, because this is really important. This is really important. When we give our energy to this satanic, dark, controlling mechanism, it feeds off our loosh, it feeds off our energy, and we're giving it our energy for free, which is just, yeah, it's just not the one. Just not the one. And it needs to stop. Needs to stop. So this is what I'm talking about. The Saturn cult of the cube. We see these cubes all over, and the cube always sits on the edge, on an angle. And if we go back one, we can see the cube sits at an angle. We have the tri line here, which is very interesting. Well, I'm sure that'll come up in the future. Oh, there we go. There's the tri line. So we've got the cube inside the star. So the cube is controlled by the star, which is part of the the Merkaba and Metatron's cube. Now we have this black satanic cult symbolism around the world. We know what this is and where this is. This is Freemasonry, the black and the white. The black and the white actually represents the 11 and the 11. And then we have the four pillars, which is the 11 and 11, which also is part of the Janus symbolization, even if they don't understand that. We have the cross, which is an opened up cube. We have the star of the tetrahedron, which is the Star of David symbolization, and we have the black cube of Satan, the 666. All fits into one another. I told you I was going to take my teeth out today, didn't I? It all fits into each other. And we have this New Age psyop lunatic who's made a fortune out of stealing the loosh for his masters. Yeah, let's all have a Merkaba meditation, shall we? I don't think so. So let's start breaking this down a bit, shall we? You've seen this before. This is the crystalline code and the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is the daisy of death and looks like this. Let me just move myself. Look, oh, look at that. As if by magic. As if by magic. I'll probably stay at the top corner now. Um, so this is Metatron's cube, Fibonacci sequence, flower of death, and it has to feed upon itself to grow. So to get to 2, it's 1 plus 1 equals 2. To get to 3, it's 2 plus 1 equals 3. To get to 5, it's 3 plus 2. It has no positive and negative ion, protons or photons within its breakup, and it cannot sustain itself. As the crystalline code, Cris code, which is this one here, and the blue, is the source spiral, source of all creation. And it doesn't need to feed on anything because I don't know if you can see the blue and the brown, but it has positive and negative charged material within itself, atoms, protons, photons, whichever way you want to look at it, ions. And so it grows naturally in the power of 2, so it always doubles itself in size. And even when it goes down to 0, because it has and maintains constantly that charge to the 0 point, it will then grow because it's consciousness, and it's the creation of consciousness of this realm. As this is a third party interloper that has got nothing to do with this realm whatsoever, apart from put it in bondage and enslave us. And this is your Merkaba. The Fibonacci sequence, this is your Merkaba. And it will always collapse eventually upon itself, normally after the 7th axis, because there's nothing more to sustain it unless it has loosh to feed upon. And this is why we have the New Age psyop, because the Fibonacci sequence is able to grow by taking on and feeding on people's loosh. So, as I say, this is the Metatronic cube, and this is sacred geometry. Well, there's nothing sacred about it in any way, shape, or form. It's all part of the death cult. And lovely, right in the middle, what do we see? The Merkaba. And the flower of life, which is the daisy of death. And the tree of life, which is not, because it's a 10 Cathara grid and not a 12 Cathara grid of the creational energy. So, and I do go through this in my other videos if you don't understand, but obviously I'm talking about the actual demonic entities and energy associated with this and how it works. So we're talking about the Merkaba. I've done a video on this dude down here, old drum, Mirko, and I weren't impressed, and I still ain't impressed. Wake up, people, please wake up. This is kind of like the how can I put this? We all have some big truths when we're learning stuff. I mean, people talk about flat Earth and all these big red pills potentially that you can get in life. Well, this is the red pill at the moment for me. This is the big one. And once you can break the chains of understanding this one and who exactly is behind this and what they're doing and where it goes and what characters are connected to this in history, there's a lot of names you're going to recognize when I'm going through this. Then you get to understand the energy and the nature of what is connected to the Merkaba. Okay. So this fella, and we can see exactly what he's doing with that. Yum, yum. Okay. So this is the kind of cult symbolistic stuff that you're looking at. Um, it's very interesting. There's a fire there because there's often a fire next to Janus. Okay, we'll go into that a little bit later. But we also have Moloch. So this is Baal and Moloch, or both Moloch, or both Baal. You get the picture. So, the Merkaba is a three-dimensional star tetrahedron with two interlocking tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions. Now, spinning in opposite directions is very important because that creates an energy lock that locks us in to this realm. So, as you can see my screensaver, we have the dome above us, which is the toroidal field or the firmament or the snow globe, whatever you want to call it. We ain't getting out of it in a hurry because the two interlocking tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions have created the seal in this realm that we can't get out of yet. Yet. But we will, but not at the moment, because this creates a vibrational frequency which locks the human body and everything else down into it fundamentally. And is probably likely why we got the dome placed upon us in the first place. Why we were placed in isolation from the rest of the other realms, because this energy came in and, like a cancer, had to be stopped. Now, it represents the union of mind, body, spirit, and is considered profound in sacred geometry. The term Merkaba is of Hebrew origin and its roots firmly embedded in the biblical texts. Not quite, not quite. And it is a very powerful tool in sacred geometry because it feeds on your illusion, takes your energy. So welcome to the New Age PSYOP, and that's what it is. Again, there'll be links below for my videos that cover this. Is Merkaba an angel? Okay, there's an H. They sometimes spell it with an H. Merkaba originally refers to a kind of vehicle God rode in the book of Ezekiel, and we'll get to him in a little while. It wasn't really depicted as an independent angel, but it was kind of man made from out of angels. So the Merkaba is a kind of vehicle, but it's not an angel, but it's kind of made out of angels, or what came to be seen as an angel. That's interesting. We'll get to that one. And so the game thought it could spin into a distinct angel. It's very interesting. And so the game thought it could spin into a distinct angel. It's really quite an unusual thing to be put on a Google mentioning. I mean, this comes from Google, obviously Google's right all the time. But this is a reference. This is just a reference, okay? So the Merkaba is some kind of vehicle. I wonder if it's a vehicle to take loose and feed the angels. So, what does Merc mean? Well, it's slang. It's to defeat, overwhelmingly, beat up, kill, or eliminate. That sounds very positive. What does Ka mean in Hebrew? Thus, in that way. It's very strange. Unfortunately, I've got a bar across and I don't know how to get this bar down. It just covers everything. I'm sure there's a way that I could actually hide this bar, but I don't know how to. And so I'm having to keep moving this bar all over the place so I can actually see and read the stuff. So if anyone knows how to get rid of the bar when you're sharing the screen so it doesn't just go over everything, let me know. And um, and if you can't, great. Anyway, Ba means comes or is coming. Merkaba, as in the unintentional first sentence of many Hebrew-speaking babe in arms. Babe in arms. I wonder, we've just seen a baby in arms, haven't we? Been passed to somebody. Daddy's coming. Abba, 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 Abba. Daddy's coming. And Lil means to me, for me. Put them together and you get just Indonesian touristing, but I feel like it in the phrase. But what we actually get from Merkaba, if we kind of put those just couple of things together, is to kill, beat up, or defeat thus in that way that comes, or I feel like. Now, to me, that doesn't sound the sort of thing that you want to be giving your energy to, or any kind of energy to. I don't know. You tell me. Because as soon as something's got to kill, beat up, or defeat, to defeat us in that way that comes from taking our Lucian energy. Yeah, I'd say that's probably how it is. So what does the Hebrew word ba mean? Or Baal? It means Lord. So Baal, Merkaba. Remember they had an H at the end sometimes? Merkaba. Word Baal means Lord in several Levantine Semitic languages, hence why it's given the important god Baal. So Baal is an important god. Previously, Hadad. We'll get on to him. During antiquity, Hadad is often called Baal. Mm. In ancient texts included in several books of the Hebrew Bible. So Hadad, and there we go. Look at that lovely picture of him. And he's being carried with horns sticking out of his head. And his abode is heaven. Thunderbolt, the bull, and the lion. I wonder if that's why we have so many lions in depictions on shields and stuff, because the lion is actually a symbolic reference to Baal. Ooh. So Hadad um, 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 is the god of storm and rain in the Canaanite and ancient Macedonian regions. He was attested in Elab as Hadad or Hadda, um, introduced in Britannia by the Amorites and became known as Akkadon, God Akkad or God Adad. And Had was also called many names, including Baal or Baal, Ba, Lord. Interesting, isn't it? But what really interests me here is who he is equated to with the Greek gods, Zeus. Now, I will do another show on this later, but I can tell you that Janus and Zeus, remember Zeus tricked Pandora into opening the box, are one and the same people, as is Apollo, as is Helios. Okay? And the Roman god Jupiter, Jupiter, Jupiter. Peter. Petter. Do you know who Petter is? That's Janus. I was going to really upset you guys, but I'm going to keep that one quiet because I don't really don't want to. I could lose half my subs overnight, literally, if I carry on. But yeah, Jupiter is Jupiter, Peter, Petter, Petter is Janus, and there were two Peters either side of Christ. Yeah. Okay. So we have this fella, and look at the symbol on his head. Hmm. Look what he sits on. He sits on the world. So when some deity sits on the world, it means they control that world. And under the world is the Merkaba. Okay. So we have this entity, the horns, sitting on the world, controlling the world, and it's locked down. Okay. This is Pan, Peter Pan, in fact. Another story that's inverted. Captain Hook's a goodie, not Pan. Pan takes the children. Hook is trying to stop Pan from stealing the children. Yep, just destroyed a load of lovely childhood memories there, haven't I, in one stroke? um, but same Pan is Baal is Moloch, all the same people, all the same, all the same. So, what does the Bible say about the Merkaba? Well, the word Merkaba or Merkabi is Hebrew for chariot. Remember when we looked at it just a little while ago, it was a bunch of angels creating some kind of thing to move. Okay. So it wasn't a god or a deity as such, it was a collective of. To ride an animal. We just seen an animal playing a pipe, didn't we? Called Pan. Hmm. Yeah. So what is the meaning of the Merkaba in the Bible? Merkaba is also spelled Merkaba is a complex symbol of Jewish mysticism and exorcism. Merkaba is derived from the Hebrew word for chariot and comprised of three Hebrew letters. It's said that representative chariot is of God in Ezekiel's vision. So we get the chariot twice there, and we've had it already. There's got to be something in that. So several parallels between Moses and Ezekiel are noted. Because as soon as I start looking it up, I was going, well, Ezekiel and Moses are the same bloke. It's quite upset for you. Remember, the teeth are out today. You're going to get it. Raising the question whether Ezekiel was understood as the second Moses figure or whether they just like creating the same story because they don't have any imagination. Same old playbook. We see it in very many different walks of life. The same playbook plays out time and time again, and we get the same story time and time and time again. Both were Levites who became prophets and leaders of God's people in a time of crisis. There we go. Now, the book. So this is from the Ezra's, The book is valuable for understanding the life of exiles of Babylon, having been cut from Judaism or Jerusalem and its temple, where alone Yahweh dwelled. Hmm. I wonder what Yahweh looks like. Wonder if he has a hand up and a hand down, and he has a star on his head, and he sits on the world with a Merkaba underneath it. And I wonder who else Yahweh really is as well. Like I said, the teeth are out today, and you're getting it. And could be worshipped. So they worship Yahweh. And the deportees faced with a crisis of faith and practice, remember? So Ezekiel attempted to sustain his fellow exiles. The exiles are exilarchies. The exilarchies, are these the same people who went to Persia, which is now Iran, where we have those issues? I did a video on that. You might want to listen to that because we could be talking about exactly the same people around the same kind of times. Okay. They strive to keep alive their traditions and religious beliefs. Yeah. His prophecies did much to dispel the notion that Yahweh dwelled exclusively in Jerusalem. He emphasized the importance of the individual responsibility and urged that the Sabbath be kept holy and cessation from work. Sabbath. Mm. And the holy day was especially sign of Yahweh's relationship with his people. So, by being faithful, the exiles were promised that Israel would be restored. See Balfour Agreement later on by the Rothschilds. Okay. Now, when you type in chariot into Google, you get the Merkaba symbolism comes straight up at the top. So it's a screenshot from that directly. The chariot is the Merkaba. So the term Merkaba or Merkaba, Hebrew for chariot, is the throne or chariot of God. The origin of the Merkaba is attributed to the Old Testament prophet Ezekiel, who worshipped Yahweh, who described his vision of the throne of God or Merkaba. So Yahweh is connected very much to the Merkaba and is the god of this realm. But I know who the god of this realm really is. Now I've done some tarot cards here just so you can see the chariot. And what's very interesting with the chariot is the rider and what he has on his shoulders. These are half moons with two faces facing away from each other. And this is Janus. This is actually Janus, the four-faced god, because the fourth face is behind the guy looking forward, looking backwards. And exactly the same here. And we have the four pillars, which we'll get into soon, which is a Jewish symbolism. When they get married, they stand under the four pillars with the throw over the top, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but I have seen it. And we have four-legged creatures that are both male and female in this drawing. Hmm. Okay. Oops. So, Janus. What's Janus's alternative name? Janus. Well, Ionis Pater or Father. He's the Father. In fact, our Father who art in heaven. Well, look, his abode is limits of earth and heaven. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. You're beginning to get something now, aren't we? So, he's also the four-faced God, Quadronis, or Bifrontus, the two-faced God. But keep in mind the four faces, the four, okay? And the abode of Janus is at the limits of earth and to the extremity of heaven. In other words, Janus rules everything within the toroidal field or the dome or the snow globe. And his symbolization is the two faces. Now, I have discovered images of Janus that go back to around or just after 3000 BC. And I will be dropping that one in the future as well. So when we're talking about Janus, we're talking about one of the gods who created the realm, a jealous god, a vicious god, but he's the god of beginnings and endings, doorways, young, old, time. Janus is also Kronos. So this is Ezekiel, whatever his name was. Ezzy. There we go. There's old Ezzy, bending down on his knees, been given a scroll from some dude sitting in a chariot with lion with wings, all sorts of strange creatures that he has messed with. We have a bull, a lion. I would say that's either a phoenix or a eagle. And then we have another poor lass looking away. But what we actually do is we have four faces, four faces of Janus, in fact, with the four wheels on the cart. So this cart has four wheels. Remember when we were looking at the chariot? The guy had a face on each shoulder and a face in obviously his face. So there we go. Now this one is full of symbolism and very, very interesting. And I'll talk you through this. Now the two slides at the bottom are actually Kronos or Janus. So Kronos is Father Time, and he always have a baby with him, a youngster, and himself, and he's the Grim Reaper. So he's death as well. And he has dragons or four-legged beasts. And what do we have here? We have a guy sat inside a dome, the pyramid upon his head. Pyramid. We've seen that. With angels, four faces of angels blowing X and creating two X's. We're going to get to that soon as well. And we have four wheels of four with the two-feeted people that he's created to create the 4444, the 4444. Okay. The only thing this is missing really is this guy with the one eye, fundamentally sitting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But very interesting, the XX. We'll get to that. But we can see similarities between Kronos, who's Janus, and this guy. Because Janus can be male and male and male and female. So he can be X and X or XY. X is 10, X is 10, so it's 1, 1. Now, believe it or not, if you Google the numerology, the numerical significance of Y, it comes up with 1. So that's 1, 1. So that's the 11, the 11. And on the chariot, remember, we had the 4 posts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 faces. The 4 faces of the portal of Janus, looking one way and the other. But the X in this, which is meant to be God, X and X, 4 cherubs, 4 faces, X, X. Remember, this is Ezekiel. This is imagery from Ezekiel still. Interesting, isn't it? These are more images of Ezekiel. He's obviously a bit older there and a bit younger here. We have the all-seeing eyes on the wheels, the 4 wheels, 4 faces. All the eyes are looking in different directions of the 4 faces. Very interesting, isn't it? We have the 2-legged creatures, 4 of them, and upon the throne in the circle, the light coming from it, sits Yahweh, Janus, Satan. You tell me. Now, we have another image here, and we have a very strange looking creature here. Now, this creature reminds me of Abagus, who is an offshoot of Janus. Um, Again, we have a scroll being handed to this guy, the 4-sided wheel, which is a Janus representation again. And we have the sun. Inside the sun is Hebrew, and this Hebrew is Yahweh. So in this depiction, they're telling you that the sun is Yahweh, the light bringer, which make him Lucifer. Okay? Was God Lucifer's dad? Um, God isn't just Lucifer's father, he's father to all the angels. Okay, so we know that God is Lucifer's father, the light bringer. But the question is, who is God? So, what does pater stand for? Father, Latin for father. A title given to a father deity, Des Pater, a Roman and Celtic god. He's also a Sumerian god. Okay, of the underworld. Of the where? He's god of the underworld. Later subsumed by Pluto and Jupiter. Well, there we go. Peter, Jupiter. God the Father in Christianity. So what are they trying to tell us here? That Peter, who's Janus, the father of gods, was the god of the underworld, later subsumed by Pluto and Jupiter, God the Father in Christianity. Janus, other names. In this pater, father. And remember, his limits are earth and heaven. Our Father who art in heaven. Hmm. Okay. Often it's Ionis or Ionis, and then it's pater separately. Janus, father. Those two words are often separate. They're together in this case. But if he was God of the underworld and came up and then became God of the Father in Christianity, that would make him somebody else. Yahweh is the name of the God and the Father. Hang on a minute. So Yahweh is the name of the God and Father of the Lord Jesus Christ. But Yahweh was in the Son as Lucifer Lightbringer. Hmm. When you break Jesus down, Jesus, it's Hail Zeus. Zeus is Janus, connected with Pandora's box, I guess. His name is used approximately 6,000 times. I bet it's 6,606 times. 666. Bet it is. In the Old Testament, there are hundreds of adjectives and circumstances in the scriptures contain which define his essence. To know an individual, we need to understand the person's character. And boy, are we going to find this guy's character out. The scriptures teach us about Yahweh's character and the God Almighty he is. Okay. In the following verse, rock, faithful, righteousness are description. And the church is built on the rock, isn't it? Hmm. In Samuel, in 2 Samuel 24, Yahweh sends the angel of Yahweh to inflict a plague against Israel for 3 days, killing 70,000 people. I think we're kind of getting an idea of this guy who really is. As a punishment for David having taken the census without his approval. So he's an all-controlling God who, when you upset him, will kill and maim. Remember, this is all connected to the Chariot and the Merkaba. Don't forget this. This is all the same energy. 1 Chronicles 21:1 repeats this story, but replaces the angel of Yahweh with an entity referred to as Satan. Because Yahweh came from hell, didn't he? It's not what we read earlier. So that must make him Satan, which could make him Lucifer as well as the devil. You see, we get told lots of stories about lots of different entities, but actually, they're all the same. But the more stories of different names they can create, the more they can spread division and fear and get people to do guided meditations. Yeah? So Yahweh is Satan, and the Bible tells us this. And we know Yahweh is not a nice God. So when the Bible says that Satan is the God of this world, well, Yahweh was the God of this world, but now Satan is. So it's more confirmation, okay? It's not saying that he is ultimate authority. It's conveying the idea that Satan rules over the unbelieving world in a specific way. Hmm, a specific way. I wonder what that way is. Because Yahweh is Janus, Satan is Janus, and Zeus is Janus, Apollo is Janus, Helios is Janus, Ionis is Janus. From my understanding and from all my research, I keep going back to the same things. So, 2 Corinthians 4:4, the unbeliever follows Satan's agenda. The God of this world has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of glory of Christ. Now, this passage is very interesting because Satan has blinded the minds of the unbelievers, and they cannot see the light of the glory of the Christ code, not Christ, 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 Christ. Okay? Christ code is Mother Gaia, Sophia, and is this realm. And they cannot see the light because people are getting them to do meditations, worshipping Satan, Yahweh, Lucifer, and all the rest of them. Baal, Pan. That's where you get pansexual from, obviously. Because remember, Janus was both male and female. He was pansexual as well as male male. Divine masculine, who took over from Gaia and the Christ code, the creational code of this realm. Satan's scheme included promoting false philosophies. Oh my God. Like sacred geometry. I'd say so, wouldn't you? Sacred geometry falls under that. False prophecies, philosophies. In the world's philosophies that blind the unbeliever to the truth of the gospel. Satan's philosophies are the fortress in which people are imprisoned and they must be set free by Christ, the Christ code. Makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? If you want to use the good book, we'll use the good book. But the good book clearly says here, and I've linked the Merkaba with the chariot of God, who is Satan, and I've spoken about the Chris code and the Fibonacci sequence. Satan is the Fibonacci sequence, the black satanic cube, the death cult, the Merkaba, Metatron's cube. And then we have the Chris code. people must see the light, the inner light, and be set free by the Christ code, by ourselves. Remember, everything's inside us. Parables of Jesus say this. Everything is within. It's Yahweh that wanted you to give your power away and externalize yourself because he's a jealous God, a vengeful God, a psychopath, in fact. This is Janus, but this is Janus as the half moon, Iona or Diana. And here we have Diana looking into the moon at the reflection of herself and a reflection of the realm, the X and the Y, the duality, the pansexual. Okay? The cults are clearly Satan, demigod cults. Satan is the black cube, is the Merkaba, and we see the Merkaba here. Metatron's cube is the black cult of Satan, the black cube, which is Janus, which is Yahweh, Zeus, Apollo, and all the other sick individuals. And when you're doing your Merkaba, guided meditation, you're feeding the demonic. You're feeding these old people. Baal, Pan, Moloch, Zeus, Apollo, Helios, Lucifer. The Statue of Liberty is Lucifer. And the Statue of Liberty is also Apollo. Who's Yahweh, and they are all Janus. Because Janus is the God of gods. He's the Father. And he's the one that rules this realm. He's the one that enslaved Gaia and has been feeding off the Chris code and our Loosh for thousands of years. Janus is the moon and Janus is the sun. He controls every aspect of your life, from birth to death. Janus is the Admiralty third-party law. Janus is everything. Every time you walk through a doorway, you're walking through Janus, from one place to another. It's all-encompassing. And the Merkaba is one of his very sick, twisted tricks. He's got people to play. Metatronic cube with the seal of the soul of man and woman, obviously. With the dark lunar control of the divine feminine is where we have been and where we're now going to get out of. Okay. Well, that was, as I said, going to trigger some people, and I really did get the teeth out a bit there. I dropped some real bombs. And I haven't even started on the Janus stuff properly, or the connections too. But I wanted to do an in-depth video explaining how the Merkaba is connected to Metatron's cube, which is the black cult cube energy of the Fibonacci sequence, and just who those characters are. And I think I did. Now, I may do another one, but it'll be a very short one, just to give an overview, a very brief overview, because I'm aware this has gone on for some time, but it was always going to, and it had to. This is fundamentally the way we escape out this realm, and the choice is yours to look at the information. As I like to say, observe, don't absorb it. Observe the information. Don't get triggered. Don't get emotionally attached to it. Just see where it goes and do your own research. Do your own research. See where it takes you. Because I can assure you it'll take you exactly where I've gone. There's a very good overview of Janus called Janus 101 by a guy called Black Sheep Researcher. Janus 101 Black Sheep Researcher. He's the guy that first opened my eyes to Janus. I've not watched any of his stuff since because I wanted my research to be my research and to be led where I needed to be led. Many of the characters that we believe are good characters are not. This is an inverted realm, an inversion of something much better. And despite all of that, we're doing amazingly well. And we really are. So, please share this around. Please like, please subscribe. I'm not sure how many subscribers I'll lose on this one, but I can only give you the information I can give you from where I go. It is what it is. And the consequences and the fact that we are feeding the guy that shackles us, the energy that shackles us by doing these Merkaba meditations needs to stop, and it needs to stop very soon. So if all you guys could, if you come across something like that, message them or just send them this video and just say you need to watch this, or the other videos in my links. So they're below, obviously in the description below that, there'll be a load of links to several videos that all relate to this kind of thing. There'll be an introduction to Janus as well as all the other bits and pieces. Yes, it's a lot to watch and understand, but it's important, I feel, that you do, because we don't want to be giving our power away to any external source. Our power is within us. We have everything we need inside us, and we've been tricked to give our power externally to another force that is not for good. The Vatican, Janus is the keeper of the keys, is the janitor, and the Vatican, their flag has two keys crossed as the X. That's Janus. The Vatican is called Vatica, after the goddess of the underworld. And who was Yahweh? He was the god of the underworld until he came up. See? All connects, all connects, all connects. And with that, thank you very much. I'm going to leave you with that one. And I hope I haven't overloaded you guys. And thank you for watching. Blessings and thank you. Bye, everyone.